In this tutorial, we're going to see how to use Sage point of sale software, in French Sage Décentralisée. For us to actually start using this software, we must have created a company file in Sage Gestion Commerciale or the trading software. Because this particular software will not work independently on its own, it will work based on the file which was earlier created in Gestion Commerciale or Trading 100. So when you have the software or when you have the point of sale software installed in your machine, and when you double click on your trading file, it is the point of sale software which is going to open. Like for example, here we have a company file we've created. When you create a trading company file, an accounting file is going to be attached to it. So this is the normal trading file. When the point of sale software is installed in your machine, if you double click on the company file you created using a Sage Gestion Commerciale, it is instead Sage saisis de caisse décentralisée that is going to open. And if at all you instead want to open it in Gestion Commerciale, you will be forced to open it through the application. Like you will have to come and look for Gestion Commerciale. You have to come and look for Gestion Commerciale. Let's get it open. So I will first of all have to close it. I'll first of all have to close the company file in saisis de caisse. So I'll first of all have to close it from here. So I'll get to the Gestion Commerciale software. Then get to Fichier, take over. It means if I want to open that very same company using Gestion Commerciale, I will not directly double click on it. I'll have to come to Fichier and take over. Then look for where it is located in my machine, like for example on the desktop, and take it this way, and this way it's going to be open in Sage Gestion Commerciale. So if you then come here and double click on it directly, it will instead open in Sage saisis de caisse. So when you click on it, always make sure you are where you want to be. You check on the title bar of the software, you're going to see the Sage saisis de caisse Décentralisée with the name of the company file. So you will see that the interface is practically not different, still the same, still have the same tabs, fichier, édition, structure, traitement, état, fenêtre, and you need to understand that the Sage point of sale software or Sage saisis de caisse décentralisée is made uniquely to manage sales, uniquely for sales, and as a result, you will have nothing concerning purchases in this particular software. So if you go through the settings like fichier, paramètres, société, all the settings you must have made in Gestion Commerciale will equally appear here. Like for example, settings concerning the account, settings concerning the articles, conditionnement, all your category, catalogue article, unité de vente, and everything that you have to personalize in Gestion Commerciale will definitely appear here. If you have not created a company for in Gestion Commerciale or made all the required settings in the file with Gestion Commerciale, you will want to click on the link I'm going to allow in the description of this video, so you can have access to the full videos that will help you to get to this level. So when we get into Sage saisis de caisse décentralisée, if you come to structure, you will see the very same families you created are going to be here, as well as the product list. All the products with the unit prices, quantities are equally going to be here. So let's get to work. You see also accounting related information, plan comptable, taux de taxe, code journaux equally appearing here. Here you will have the possibility to create customers client, but you will check in this list and notice that there is nothing like fournisseur or supplier, because this is a point of sale software and it has nothing to do with purchases at all. So the very first thing we will have to do in this case, we will have to create collaborators. When you enter in Sage point of sales and you want to set up everything, you have to start by creating collaborators, those who will be working in the system in terms of vendor or seller, caissier, or the cashier, acheteur, the person who makes purchases, controller, chargé de recouvrement, and so on. So you just need to take nouveau and you select and you create, you should create at least a cashier. so that you have the possibility to open a teller in the software. So I'm going to call it for example, cashier 1. You could put the name of the cashier in question. So you could put the name of the cashier, the surname of the cashier, his service functions, and his contacts, and so on. So from here, I'm going to click OK. So I have one here. Like for example, here I created one cashier and I gave instead his name. So with time now, we'll be able to attach these individual persons to the different tellers. Like for example here, when you put the name and for example the surname and all the other informations, when you come on profile, you tick what type of person he is. Is he the seller? Is he the cashier? Is he a controller? Is he the person that makes sales? But by default, when you create it, he will automatically be a cashier. Yeah, niveau d'utilisateur is simply the level of usage. Like for example, you might have created some users and you want to attach a particular user to this particular collaborator you've created, such that each time that person logs in with this name, his password should be required. So we're going to be getting back to this later. The next thing after you must have created the collaborator is to equally create caisse, which is actually the teller, or that place where the cashier will be making sales, receiving money. So you have to enter there, and you have to create the different point of sales, the different cashier or the different tellers, the different places where they make sales in the store in question. So here I created some already. You can just click nouveau, and in this window there are some very essential things you need to put, which is the first thing is the name of the teller. Like I'm going to call teller, let me say teller 1 for example. So you have to select a depot magasin attaché, which is the warehouse you should attach to it, or the point of sales you should attach to it. If you don't have this, you will not be able to create it, so you might want to stop everything and go create a point of sales. We've seen how to create all these in the Sage Gestion Commerciale. If you've already done that, you just need to come and select the depot magasin attaché, which is either which is in some way where you keep stock. It could be at the point of sales, it could be at the store itself, or it could be a warehouse. So if you're selecting this teller, then you're selecting the teller and saying that okay, he's going to be located at the point of sales or might be in the warehouse, because you can equally have somebody at the warehouse making some operations, might be exiting the goods from the warehouse. So yeah, I'm simply going to allow point de vente, which represents point of sales, which represents equally the store where this teller is going to be located. Next thing you have to select is client vente comptoir, meaning the customer which should be attached to the point of sales you'll be using. And by default, you will also want to create a customer called other customers, because at the teller you might have customers that come that you might not have to register their names, and you will have to create a customer name other customers where you can sell to them. However, when we make the sales receipts format, will equally custom it in such a way that you can select a specific customer, but by default you should put a client vente comptoir, which is a customer at the teller or at the point of sales. So you should already know that when we talk about point of sales, we are directly receiving money. So you have to impute the code journal de caisse, which is the cash journal, or might be the journal where money will be recorded. If might be you are receiving all transactions by bank check, then you will want to select the journal code here for bank. You must have earlier created that either in Sage Comptabilité for this very same company file, or in Gestion Commerciale. There are equally links below this video in the description to show you how to create all of these journal codes. So you select the journal code, and here you will have interface de suivi, écran de saisie. If you have not yet created a screen, this space is going to be empty and you will not equally have the possibility to go ahead. So let's go and see how to create a screen, because here is a screen template you're going to be using at this particular teller or case you'll be using. So if you do not yet have it in your case, you can allow it. We're going to see how to create it and attach it here. So when I am done creating all of this, I will just take OK, and it's validated. So for you to finish this creation, you should also enter écran de saisie. That is what we're going to do now. We're going to create a screen template we're going to be using at this particular teller. So when we come to fichier, you go to paramètres, société. You will see here a settings which does not appear in Sage Comptabilité nor Sage Gestion. It's only in Sage Saisie Caisse, and the setting here is caisse. So when you enter in caisse, you have here general. You come here to écran de caisse. On écran de caisse, if you have not yet created before, all this is going to be empty. So you click on ajouter nouveau, and you come down here. You have the possibility to give it a name, the name of a stream. Here there are 4 streams. You can create the 4 and go and make the test and see the way it looks like. So for our case, we are going to take, for example, écran 1, and we give it a name, like screen 1, for example. So, and you tell us the type of document you will be printing in this particular screen. Is it a ticket? Is it a facture? Is it a bon de commande? If we are in Sage Saisie Caisse and you are at the teller or at point of sales, you obviously be printing out a ticket which will represent a sales receipt. So from here, if you have further settings to make concerning the screen, here you have accès aux paramètres de l'écran, things that you want to show on the screen. You can put, for example, the cachet to show on the screen, the date. You can decide that okay, what depot the stock or the place where stocks are being kept should also show on the screen. So you can tick whatsoever you want to show on the screen, and you take OK. Then you equally take OK, so it's validated. So this is the screen which was created. So from here we'll come to structure caisse, and we come to that teller we created, and we attach the screen we earlier created. Here you have parametre clavier in the creation of your caisse. It is just a keyboard settings you might make in such a way that when you are making sales, you should not use buttons. You should not you should have a kind of shortcuts on your screen that you can use. However, we're going to see that later. So you take OK. So when you must have set up the collaborators and the case already here, the depot stock, you must have created the different places where you keep stocks inside gestion commercial. If you have not created that, you should create it here and attach it to the different case you're creating. So after you must have done these 2 steps, you will now want to see how to open the teller or how to open the case. On the vertical bar here, you're going to see gestion de vente, and below here you're going to see vente au comptoir. So you can take here ouverture de caisse. If you do not want to take ouverture de caisse, you can equally come on traitement and take ouverture de caisse. So you can decide on whatsoever will suit you. So you come on ouverture de caisse, and when you come to ouverture de caisse, this is the interface that's going to show for you to open the teller. You will have to choose the case in question. So I will delete what is here and select my teller 1. You want to select the cachet in question, so you can select the cachet you want to use, which is the person who is working in this particular case, in this particular teller. If this person is a user in the software, you will want to give him a password. But if you have not attached him to a user in the software, you will not have to put the password, because he does not actually have the password. Now on this interface, you equally see the date, and you see here déclarer le fond de caisse. At this level, you can if you have many at the start of the day, that is, for example, in your coffers, you will have to declare by clicking on this box. If you click on this and you take OK, what is going to show is space for you to declare the value of the cash you have at the beginning of the period. So you can come here. If, for example, you have 50,000, you can come here and you put 15,000, and you take OK. But if you do not have anything at the start, you can simply allow that box without being ticked. So when you take OK, this is the interface which is showing, and this interface comes as a result of écran we earlier selected here. You remember we created a screen here, and we came to écran 1. This écran 1 this is what we selected, and if you instead created it with écran 2, the interface here will be completely different, same as écran 3, écran 4. They have all different interface, so you can always create and make a test on how it goes. So you can see here we wanted that the date should appear, the depot de stock cache should appear on our screen. You remember when we were paramètre société, when we came here and we found the caisse, here we had to set up things that should appear on the screen when we click on this link down here, accessible parameter. So that is why they are equally showing on the screen. So this is the sales interface. When customer come, this is what you're going to be using to make sales or to accept your sales. So what you have to do is to put the reference. For example, you press the tab key and then you select the product you want to sell. Like we saw in previous video, we can custom this interface by right clicking anywhere and take personaliser la liste, and we can enter, for example, prix d'achat, prix de vente, stock réel, and remove what we don't want to be seen, référence client. Okay, so that we can be able to see the purchase price and selling price and the stock available. So I started back. When you are in this interface, you can now start putting the product you want to sell. You start putting, like for example, a reference or the first 3 letters of the product, then you take a tab key. Then from here, the list of all the products are going to appear, and you select the product you want to sell. Remember, you cannot sell what you don't have in stock. So I'm going to select the product as quantity in stock. I press the tab key. You will see the sales price of that product will appear here, and here I have the possibility to put the quantity. So let's say the person is buying 2 units. He's done with this. I'm done imputing the quantity for this unit. If there is any rebate to make, I put it here and I press enter. So this is one product the person has taken. If there is another product, I keep on adding them in the list. If there is another product, like for example this, I just need to come here. If this product was created under the unit selling price was not imputed, the unit selling price will not also appear here. So you can give it a sales price and you put the quantity and you press enter. Alright, so when you are done doing this, normally down here you're supposed to have options to validate it. So when you select account numéro 1 or that first screen, you should attach a keyboard shortcut to make some operations, but here we do not have the possibility to do that. So let's do something. Let's go and first of all select another screen and see how it will show here. Then we will come back and select screen 1, then set up the keyboard shortcut which will help us to operate this screen. So if I don't want, since I cannot validate this, I'm just going to close it. Yes, I want to exit. Good. So here there is what we call fermeture de caisse. Fermeture de caisse is, for example, to close the teller for the day, because when you just click the X box there, it will just close the interface, so you have to take fermeture de caisse. So I'll come back to set up my screen and instead select écran 2. So I'll come to écran from here and I'll instead select écran 2 and take enregistrer. Good. So I've not selected écran 1 when I click on it. I've selected here écran 2 in the second screen template. So I take OK. It therefore means that this particular cashier teller number 2, it has this screen, but this screen has a template of écran 2. So when I will come and open ouverture de caisse, if I have nothing to declare, I do not tick this and I take OK. Can you see the interface is completely different, and now here you see there are buttons for me to validate the transactions. So I'm going to make a transaction with this screen, then remove this screen, take the first screen, set up the keywords and validate with it. So if I select the product, I just press the tab key. Let's say this product, I put the price, I put the quantity that person is buying. They're saying that the sales price I'm imputing here is lower than the purchase price. So if it has entered, I can click on it, it will come up. So I might put for example 2000 and it enters. So I impute another product. You see the purchase price appears. If it's just 1 unit the person is taking, I take enregister and it enters. So this is a customer that came and he bought these 2 products. When he's done placing his order, I'll have to take fin de saisie, like to stop recording. When I take fin de saisie, you will see the section down is now appearing, and it's possible for me now to write whatsoever I want to write there. So you have mode de règlement there, which is espèce. It means that you should have also created the different means of payment, which is part of the settings we had to do in gestion commerciale. If you've forgotten, I think when you come to comptabilité, under règlement, there are different means of payments which are being created in Sage gestion commerciale. I will drop the link for the video there. So the means of payment is there selected. Now you have montant réglé. The amount that appears here is the total amount of the sales receipt. So this amount here, this space here actually is to help us make calculations on how much we should give back to our customers. Like montant réglé means how much has the customer given to us. The total of this invoice is 4,700. If the customer gave us 10,000, I want to know how much we have to give him back. You will put, for example, 10,000. When you put 10,000, you see here around 5,300 or 3,500 appears. So this is just for a sort of calculation. So if the person gave you exactly the amount of the invoice, you don't need to make any modification there. So when you are done making whatsoever calculation, you can now either annulate, which is stopping everything should in case the customer does not take the goods finally. You can say mettre en attente, like to put it in the waiting list, so that if, for example, there's another customer who is already coming to make another payment, while this particular customer who took these goods is still wasting time, you can put an attendant which is in the waiting list and start serving the next customer. When this customer will come back, you will come and call back. There will be this option rappel ticket to call back the ticket you put on in the waiting list. So however, when you're here, when you've imputed the amount and you have gotten the amount to be settled back, so you can take validate or you can take ticket. So if you take, for example, validate, they will ask you to select the invoice format, the invoice template that you must have created. I will equally drop a link here to show you how to create the template for the ticket. So you double click on it, and if you have a printer, it will start printing. But since I don't have a printer connected to the machine, I'll make a print preview, and take OK. So this is the print preview of the document. I did not put the name of the company. You can put the name of the company in the template, and you can see all the products are appearing with the total amount. Montant réglé, 10,000, 10,000, net à payer, 4,700. So if you have something to print, you just click on print. So if you close this, it's going to validate the transaction to permit you do the next transaction. Now you notice that when you take validate, we had to select the template before taking OK. If you do not want to select the template time and over, you can come to structure, come to client. On the particular customer at the teller, the customer you're using at the teller, you can come to parameter and attach the template. I think it's to attach the customer. Okay, when you come to parameter, you're going to see here option d'impression, and you can now attach the invoice, the ticket you want to apply each time you use this customer. You should always use that ticket. Here there is a ticket. This is a format, this is a template which has been added to this particular customer, but it's not the one I earlier used. So you can come here and you modify this and select the template you want to be attaching or you want to be using when you sell to this particular customer. So you can just take OK. So I'm going to make another sales transaction and show you how this an attente or this waiting list works. So I can just select the product, and from here I select the product I am selling. Say this product, for example, put 1 unit. So if I am still working on this customer's sales receipts and another customer comes and I need to serve him, I can put this guy in the waiting list. It has been put in the waiting list. You can see the item has completely disappeared. I can now go and serve the next customer. After which, when I'm done with the customer who was in front of me, I can come and take rappel ticket, and I call back the ticket I was earlier working on. So that is how it goes. When I'm done with this, I take fin de saisie. It comes down here. Then I take valider or ticket, and I select the invoice template, and I take OK. It prints it. So that is the procedure you take. Now we are going to set up the first screen we had, which did not have all of these functions down here. So I'm going to close this. Now when I close this, if I close with this X, I have not yet closed the teller. I've just closed the interface. And if I want to come back there, for example, if I want to come back to the interface for the sales interface, I can come and click on Vente Comptoir. So if I click on Vente Comptoir, you see the sales interface comes back. If I close here, I've just closed the interface, but I've not closed the teller completely. Then at the end of the day, instead of just closing with this cross up, I'll instead come and take the caisse and I take OK, so that it completely closed, and I have now the possibility to open the teller once more. So I'm closing it completely because I'm going to make some modifications, and if I allow it open, the modifications might not work. So I'll have to come to Paramètres Société. I come back to caisse. Remember, écran de saisie, take this and take the first screen. Now on this first screen, we are going to make some settings for us to manage, because if we open this, you're going to see the template. Okay, it has not updated. If you open, you see it is still showing the account number there because it has not yet updated. So you might want to, let me come on Paramètres Société, caisse, account, this one. Okay, I will take account. I didn't take enregistré. You should not take OK without first of all taking enregistré. Okay, so I'm going to close this and open it back. So when I open, you see the interface does not have anything to validate the transaction. So for this to work, we should create some shortcuts which will permit us to validate transactions or do whatsoever we had to do in the second screen. So I'll close this again. In this case, let me close everything. In this case, I'll come to fichier and take périphérie de caisse. There's an option here, périphérie de caisse, and I click on périphérie de caisse. A dialog box is going to appear. And I click on périphérie de caisse. There is an option here. There's a tab here called clavier. So I'll start it back. Under fichier, there is périphérie de caisse, and here there is clavier. So you can see there is no keyboard. Clavier, which is keyboard, there is no keyboard setting that has been made before. So I'm going to add one, and I'm going to call it sales keyboard, for example. And I press the enter key. So I've just created the sales keyboard. I'll enter inside and I will set up the different items that should show on this keyboard. So here I will come down here and I will take ajouter. So I will take ajouter so as to add commands to this keyboard. So I'll take also afficher so that it can show up, because I can add commands without actually making it to show up at the end of the day. So here you have a description. You can allow the description the way it is here. What is interesting, what we need to work on is under the functions. What should it actually do? So when you take the drop down list here, you have multiple functions. So we can already start by putting the first function, which is fin de saisie. Like in the second screen, you had something to stop entering product, which was fin de saisie, and you come here and put a key on your keyboard that will permit you to access this command fin de saisie. For my case, I'm going to use the key functions. F2. I will not use F1 because F1 is already a help tool inside software. So I'll use F2, for example, to call for this function. I'll add another one. I make it visible. I'll call it, for example, validate, and I'll call it, for example, F3. I'll add another line. I'll make it be visible. I'm going to call it annuler to stop, or to. I'm going to call it F4. Add another one. So you can use any shortcut like Control plus. So you just make sure that the Control plus whatsoever you are taking, Control plus J, Control plus H, make sure that the function, the shortcut does not yet exist in the software somewhere. So I'm just using this shortcut because I know that they do not yet exist. Same like someone might want to come and use Control plus J for plus H, for example. So you just need to click Control on your keyboard when you enter here plus H. So same, I'll just click on F6, for example. Here I'm clicking on F6 on my keyboard, the F6 function at the top of my keyboard. So for the next operation, how am I going to call it? I've already had validate. I could call this one mise en attente, for example. I take it, then I look for another one and I will call it rappel ticket, for example. Here I will put it function F7 and I'll make it to be visible. So when I'm done setting this up, I take OK. I've set up the keyboard shortcuts which are going to be used on my screen. So it has not yet been added to that screen until I come to structure and I take caisse, and under the tailor I created, I have to add here under parametric clavier. I select the keyboard equation, same as I could still come here on fichier, périphérie de caisse, come at the level of clavier and add and create another keyboard. So I can create multiple keyboards and then attach them, attach the different keyboards to my different tailors. So when I take OK, and I open this caisse, you're going to see this side, but this side there are those shortcuts keyboard we earlier created. It means that when we are done entering products here, we can take F2 to take fin de saisie. So let me just say I'm taking a product. Let me say I'm taking a product like this product. So let's say the person is buying 1 unit. I take enter. When I'm done entering the product, I cannot click on this with my mouse. If I click on it, it will not go. So I'll just press F2 on my keyboard because this is what it's going to do. F2, when I take F2, you can see it validates up here and it comes down here. So if I now want to validate it, or I can still put the amount the person gives to me, like for example 5,000. It will give the amount I have to reimburse. If I want to validate, instead of clicking on it, I can use F3 and I select the template and it's being printed. So if you say that, for example, screen 1 with the shortcuts are easier than screen 2 or screen 3, screen 4 with the different buttons you have to click on, you might want to create screen 1, but don't forget to create a keyboard and attach it to the tema such that you can have the possibility to have all of these options here and all of these shortcuts. So that is how you use the sales interface here. Every sales now, when you come to traitement, you will have to see, you have the possibility to see all these very same options that are here. Vente au comptoir, like if you close this, you can come back here and take vente au comptoir and the interface is going to open. Here you have a document de vente. Document de vente is going to show all the sales document that has been printed. But now, you have not made any sales document. Document de vente here is going to be showing which type of document, facture. Facture, which is an invoice. But this interface is not showing all because we have printed like 3 sales receipts here, but they will not appear here under document de vente because these were sales receipts and they were not invoices. If I want to validate a transaction here and they have a document kept at the level of document de vente, like something being kept so that I can come and notify it later, when I'm creating this teller or when I'm creating this screen, I should not mention that it's a ticket, I should mention that it is a facture. And in that case, facture, which is an invoice, will show that the customer has not yet paid. After making these transactions, I will have to go and make the settlement of the transactions once more. So if I want to make that, I can come here, you can see under caisse, I count the caisse, and I take this screen. You can see here it is in the form of a ticket. So I could also change it to be facture, for example, and click on registering. So it will therefore mean that when I make a sales here, it is not making a sales and receiving and recording the cash transaction. It will make the sales and come and save it in vente, document de vente, where I will have to come and make the settlement of the documents again. And I think I've made a video and I'm going to leave the description how to make settlements in Sage. So I'm going to convert it back to ticket. I'm going to convert it back to ticket instead and click on registering. Now at the end of the day, you might want to come to here and take clôture de caisse, like to close. Like at the end of the day, if I close, for example, the teller, here there is the possibility to control how much was sold for that particular day. Here you have something like control the caisse. When you take control the caisse here, you can select the caisse in question you want to control and you take afficher. All transactions which took place in that particular caisse for that particular date is going to appear here. So you can see there was a fund de caisse for today I made, and a balance in cash, an opening balance of cash of 50,000, and the règlement 7,700, meaning I've sold for 7,700. So at the end of the day, this is what the cashier is supposed to give as cash for the day. So this is where you can check how much was sold for the day. You need to understand that under this control the caisse, it is cumulative. It means that it is going to be accumulating amounts as you're going. It means if, for example, it is today and yesterday I had to make some transactions, it will not just show the amount for today, it will equally show the amount for yesterday, day before yesterday, and so on. So it is cumulative. Here you have gestion de caisse. You can check whatsoever is there, but what I want to show is clôture de caisse. Like for that day, you can decide which teller you're closing completely, and you take clôture de caisse, and you have closed the caisse for that particular day. Now under état, you have now the possibility to print out the statistics of your teller per article per family. You have the possibility to print out statistics for your customers, and equally see the journal de vente, which are the sales journal which you created. You can make inventory equally from Sage saisis the caisse Décentralisée. So those are the basic options that are there. You see the greater work to be done was to be done in the Sage gestion commerciale, where almost everything was done there. Here you just have to create collaborator, caissier, make sure that you have the code store, create the different screens and the different keyboards, such that in this interface you have the possibility to make your daily sales. So that is it about Sage saisis the caisse Décentralisée. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments. Thank you.